welcome to the last generation.
I'm BabyMotorShow.com. The Republican
I
candidate
did
for
not
governor.
have sexual relations
And I
with
realize that this is something we as
We're not going to be able to solve our problems if we get distracted by sideshows and carnival barges.
One Republican, one Democrat, and you discuss the issues that matter in today's local, state, national, and global politics. Hosted by Steve Hickson with co-hosts John Stanberry and Franklin Chansey. This is Backfire.
Good morning, Cleveland. Welcome to another edition of Backfire with Franklin Chansey, John Stanberry, with myself, Daniel Brantner. Anyway, good morning, gang. How's everybody doing today?
Wonderful.
Hey, I just want you to know I really enjoyed you two being at the Boys and Girls Club banquet the other night. Franklin, you're a new member of the board there. Congratulations.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be there and very inspiring.
Enjoyed listening to the young people.
These kids, I tear your heart out. There's some real stories there to listen to. These kids work hard. One of the best things I've ever done was gotten involved with the Boys and Girls Club.
Well, it was obvious that a lot of attention and love had been showered on those kids, and it makes a difference. It's a lesson to all of us.
All right. I was just looking in the paper here, and I was reading this, and I didn't know what it was. I had to ask questions, but it was a picture of how downtown Cleveland is continuing to grow. And there's a little store, and it looks like it's where the old barbershop, the American barbershop used to be.
Rando Tinsley's.
Yeah, it looked like Rando Tinsley's old place, and it's got an awning over it that looks kind of, looks like it could be another barbershop, but then it says, Buy the Steam Star CBD.
Mm-hmm.
Marijuana, welcome to Cleveland.
And
Liquor and marijuana, haven't we progressed? Aren't we wonderful that we're going to be selling marijuana and liquor in Cleveland? Congratulations.
It's not really marijuana.
Congratulations to all the cool, groovy people that want Cleveland to grow.
Well, now, wait a minute. I asked Franklin what this was, and he told me he thought they made rope. It's one of several retail establishments that have been recently opened in downtown Cleveland. The store, which is located at 51st Street, offers a variety of hemp-made products.
Engaged in a totally legal activity all over the state.
So's liquor. Doesn't mean it's good. Doesn't mean it's good for us. Doesn't mean it's good for the society.
So what is the hemp? Now tell me why this is legal. This is what...
Well, 40 years ago it wouldn't be legal because of the level of what is it, is it THP or THC, whatever that is. 40 years ago, it would have been illegal, but we've just changed the definition of what marijuana is because of the increasing potency of the marijuana they're growing.
It's not a product people can get high off of. What
they could have in the 1970s. It's the same THC that the marijuana you were smoking in the 70s had.
Well, what are they using it for then?
There are some oils that they make out of it that, at least according to several medical studies, have some anti-inflammatory properties.
Actually, the majority of the studies show that most of that is actually in your head. The actual blind studies that have used placebos have found that they aren't particularly effective pain medicine. Now look, I'm committing heresy here because people have convinced themselves, and these aren't young people, these are 70 and 80-year-old people have convinced themselves that they need marijuana oils and pills and whatever other way you can fabricate it.
For aging?
You can rub it into your joints, and it's supposed to help with arthritis, and, they're doing everything. I had a lady that she'd love to bathe in it if she could get enough of it.
Well, there's a store she can go buy it now, I guess.
Well, we needed a draw for downtown Cleveland, so liquor stores and marijuana. Congratulations. Hope that brings the people in.
The name on the store, how do you even know what it means? CBD. CBD. What? I mean, how does that even tell you what kind of store that is?
Well, because you know what that what does CBD stand for, Franklin? Do you remember?
It's cannabis something, but it's a cousin.
When I see anything CB anything, I go, okay, that's marijuana.
I guess you have to stay on the internet to understand all this.
Cannabidiol or something like that.
Oh,
It is not, however,
I think
intoxicating.
let's go up there and hang out by the store and see who goes in.
I think
there.
it's a Latin, CBD is a Latin form for Sodom and Gomorrah, I think, is what it stands for. The collapse of the Western civilization.
And it actually doesn't have THC in it, which is the thing that makes you high in marijuana.
So this just makes you feel good.
The oils, the THC levels in hemp are about, actually they're a little higher than the marijuana people were smoking in the 70s. It's one of the problems with this issue that we don't have a serious discussion about, because just like the liquor stores, we gloss over it and go, well, you know, everybody's doing it. Look at the tax revenue. Look how much taxes we can get from this. But the hemp has more THC in it than the marijuana you were smoking. The marijuana these kids are getting now, instead of being 3 or 4%, which was what it was in the 70s, they've got this stuff going up to 40% now.
You do not get high from this stuff no matter how much you take of it. It's not a question of the potency of it. This particular ingredient does not make you high.
Oils. I'm talking about the hemp that people now. Here's the problem. I talked to a law enforcement person, and they said if they stop someone and they have what appears to be marijuana, and they say it's hemp, and now I think they are going to have a receipt for having purchased hemp, but there's no way to actually test that and to know what it is. You can't actually test it.
So it looks like pot?
It looks like pot. It's hemp. And if they have a receipt for hemp, then they'll most likely, law enforcement's going to have to adjust to these laws. So they probably will let them go, but there's actually not a way to test it, to tell whether it's hemp or marijuana. And again, let that sink in. All the people out there that go, well, you know, we smoked it in college, 3 to 4%. They've got it up to 40% now. And there are studies that show it increases violence, it increases schizophrenia, it increases lots of really bad stuff. But by all means, let's just, like the liquor stores, close our eyes and jump in.
Well, I was kind of shocked. What interested me about the article is the store had a picture of the storefront with a name that I didn't even recognize. So I'm just so old and outdated. I'm not hip anymore.
But now that you know that we have this, don't you feel so much more cool and groovy? Aren't we just a great progressing society?
John, let's look at it this way.
John, since you stopped wearing the tie-dye underwear, you're a bore.
Become a bore.
Now, wait a minute. You believe in free enterprise, right?
Yeah, I believe in free enterprise.
Okay. Well, let's see if this business makes it.
But free enterprise doesn't mean open reign. You know, slavery was free enterprise. Do we think we ought to have slavery?
So you think these oils they're saying there's no pot in it.
The problem is it's all part of a big industry. I can tell you right now that I talked to a legislator, and they were looking through some of these bills, and the industry that produces cannabis spent, I believe it was over $1 million trying to get it passed in Tennessee. So they had their bill going, and it was just about to go through, and it was going to legalize these oils and all this stuff. Well, then one of the main votes that they needed said, well, you know what? I'm going to vote for it, but I want to strike the line that would allow it to be grown in Tennessee. When he said that he wouldn't vote to have it be grown, all of the lobbyists that had spent $1 million on it packed up and left the state. They said, fine, do whatever you want to do. So what that was about was being able to grow marijuana in Tennessee. And when they couldn't get that, they left.
Well, if they're going to use this stuff for medical, they're going to have to grow it somewhere, right?
Steve, at what point do we draw any lines in our society and say, while this may be popular, it's not a good thing for us? You know, we can list all of the ills of alcohol, and people will go, well, you know, you can't do away because of prohibition. Fine. Does that mean you open the door for every other intoxicant out there? And is that good for our children, for their future?
No, I don't think so. But anyway, Franklin telling me this stuff is not illegal.
Well, it isn't illegal, number one. This is not like, it's not marijuana that we're talking about.
Is it made from marijuana?
No, it's made from a compound which is found in the marijuana plant. But it's not.
That's a lawyer's answer.
No,
it
no,
comes
it's not.
out of the marijuana plant, but it's not made from marijuana.
Well, gosh, John, you know, you can make cyanide out of apple seeds. You take it out of the apple. That doesn't mean, you know, that. Let's be in apples then.
Yeah, but an apple in and of itself is not dangerous for you. Marijuana is.
The compound that's in the CBD oil, from what I've read thus far, does not seem to be dangerous.
Look,
And it does not make you high.
This is
Now,
a
does it do
camel-
all the things they say it does? Well, that's probably up for debate.
This is a camel's nose under the tent. If you're going to grow, you got to grow the marijuana to make the oil. What do you do with the unlegal part of it after you grow it? And that tells you, that's why the industry left the negotiation when they weren't going to be able to grow it in the state.
All right. Well, I think I'll go by there and see who all's going in that store and kind of ask them if it works.
They're probably the people that took the survey telling the city what they should do with downtown Cleveland. You know, the 120 people that participated in the survey.
Oh, golly.
They may have been having a city council going in there before they voted to raise our taxes 42 cents.
Well, I'm seeing here that the city council approved 2 liquor store applications.
Yep.
Why would they just approve them all at one time?
Well, there are different points in the processes, although that was one of the issues with one of them, I understand. That I think one of them's kind of conditionally approved because they're waiting on the final background check to come in. But
Yeah, they may luck out and only get 5 of the 19 that...
there's a process. You have to submit drawings of the
Right.
business that you're going to have. You got to go through a criminal background check. Some other
So
stuff.
they had 14 people that
They picked up
applied.
applications.
Okay.
That doesn't mean they'll all be taken.
Is there a deadline that they had to be turned in?
I think there was.
I wouldn't. I don't know. Okay. I see. Well,
Did that go out on the air? Are you loud enough to be picked up, Daniel?
Deadline something like April 19th, and if they get fewer than 5 in the future, then they will open it up for more.
Well, I happen to know the 2 guys that got this, and, you know, they're both great guys. They're both great guys, and they should be able to handle this very well. But I'm reading an article here, and it's got Mr. S's voiced concerns about approving the application for City Spirit, requesting prior to voting that 2 items be placed in the meeting's minutes. He wanted 2 things put in the minutes from him. We are voting on an application that is out of compliance, and we are not keeping this applicant from continuing forward in the process.
yeah, the issue was that the complete background check had not been finished yet. Nothing had, and they emphasized nothing had turned up to red flag them at any point yet, but one of the council members wanted to go ahead and proceed with it at this point. I think in all likelihood that background check's going to come in the next week, and it'll be fine. But Councilman Estes said, "Wait a minute, we should just wait another week
Well,
till we
look,
get the full background check."
I would,
Understandable.
I would agree with Councilman Estes. I mean, if you have a rule and a stipulation, you ought to abide by it. But having said that, I can go to any gun store in town and have a background check for buying a gun in 10 minutes.
The
let me ask-
background check that is a specific background check that's required, and so.
I know, but what I'm getting
No,
at
I
is-
understand what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying but because of the specific one that they have to do, there's a process through that organization that does it, and they're
Which I'm
not
sure
doing
they
it.
get paid.
Well, it's the TBI is largely involved in it.
But my point is, do you really think that you're going to have a higher background check level for owning a liquor store than buying a gun?
No, I'm simply saying that's what the
I
ordinance
know.
says.
I'm not. This is not a criticism of the city at all. I just.
Here's where I'm going with this. There were 16 people picked up applications.
Mhm.
They've approved 2, but there's others coming in. What happens if you got 10 people that were approved?
They'll approve.
And
They've already said
they
they're
can
going to
open
approve
10.
Oh, they're going to approve them all.
Assuming
We
they
talked
meet
about
the
this last week.
qualifications.
They open the door because if they only approve 5, then the 5 that they don't approve will accuse them of favoritism. So they just threw the door open.
That was it.
Now what they're hoping is that a bunch of these people go out of business and it eventually gets
And I
down to
think-
5.
And I think that will happen.
Did they also do that with medical providers?
Well,
Yeah, what
I'm
about,
sure.
How come we had to get a permit for Memorial to build an emergency room down here?
Because the Hospital Association of the State of Tennessee still has a protection policy in place called, a certificate of need.
The county has the worker pay hike as a priority. I don't know what they're doing with the pay hike, but I've always been told bonuses work better than pay hikes sometimes.
Well, I've talked to a couple of commissioners about this. I've said this, and my wife on the county commission said this for years. They give across the board percentage pay hikes. And so if you've got a director making 60 or 70,000 or an elected official making 70 or 80,000 and you give everybody a 3% pay raise, then the guys at the top get a whole lot more than the guys at the bottom.
Right.
And they always use the differential as the argument. Well, if you give across the board pay hikes, you never change the differential.
That's
The guy at the bottom still the same number of rungs down the ladder from the guy at the top. They ought to stair-step these things and figure out their total money and say, we can give 12% to the very bottom, the entry-level deputies, the entry-level teachers. We can give 8% to the people in the middle, and we can give 4% to the people at the top. But they don't. They do it across the board. And all it does is perpetuate the problem.
I don't, they say they hadn't had a pay raise in a while, so I thought the county and the city and all those were pretty good about giving pay raises every by the cost of living.
Well, the biggest problem is, like the deputies, they're not paid enough to begin with. The people that risk their lives every day, the firemen, they're not paid enough. Now, the problem is these things are sold, like the county fire department. They knew that going into this. The officials sold this to the public and said, oh, this is great. As soon as they got in, they turned around and said, oh, we're not paying the guys enough. Well, just like the liquor store, maybe you should have told us that before you approved, having a county fire department. You should have made sure you could pay the guys enough.
They did the research on that before they did split the county and city fire departments. There is no way you can have 2 fire departments cheaper than you can have one.
We are one of only 5 counties in the state with a municipally owned or full-time fire department. Hamilton County doesn't have it. They have volunteer fire departments in the county. That is not, I love the firemen. The firemen, this is not about the firemen. It's about the politics of it.
Mm-hmm.
And old people.
I want old people to burn in their homes.
I appreciate your honesty, John.
Well, it looks like I'm reading an article here with School Superintendent Cash was talking about $556,000 to be spent on security, including $250,000 in county money and $250,000 in state non-reoccurring money. So basically, it was a match grant, I'd say.
Yeah, the state, well, I know Governor Lee has indicated one of his priorities this time is a significant increase in the amount of money for SROs, school resource officers. And maybe there's part of that program involved.
Look, I go in a lot of the county and city schools during Dental Health Month and do these magic shows, and you go in now, and the door into the body of the building is locked for most of them. You have to go into the office itself, show your ID. They now have a system where I give them my driver's license, and they feed it through a little machine. It actually prints the picture off my driver's license off on a tag that I then wear on my shirt. SRO officers are in those offices most of the time. They're doing as good a job as they can do now, or I don't know if they're fortified enough. They've had cases where some of these school shooters shot through, but they're locked down good, and they're trying to keep tabs on who comes and goes in those schools.
It's a shame. It's just a shame that our world has gotten to a point that we have to have our schools treated like prisons now.
Well, let me tie that back in. All of this stuff's tied together. When you start going, yeah, we need more liquor stores. Yeah, marijuana's okay. All of that stuff's tied together. Yeah, let's let our kids play a game where they're killing people on a regular basis. The problem is, and I've said this about socialism, you get socialism incrementally. You know, how do you eat an elephant? A bite at a time. All of this stuff that degrades the standards and the rigidity of what we used to consider good, family life, all of this stuff fits together. And that's how, when we were kids in school, we had access to probably more guns than kids do now in more percentage of more households. But kids didn't go in and shoot up their schools.
No.
We've got to start looking at the fabric of our culture and understanding that all of this stuff feeds into the degradation of our culture.
Well, anyway, we're going to be spending a lot more and more dollars on safety.
I still think that charter school in Florida that hired the two former Army specialists as guards, and the principal came out and said, if you come in our school trying to hurt our kids, we're not going to talk to you. We're not going to negotiate with you. We're going to put you down. I think that'll make a bigger impact than anything.
It will.
You have a couple of these guys go into a couple of schools and get shot between the eyes 5 feet in the front door, and that word will filter out.
Well, I don't know about that statement, since I think most people who go in and do those things plan on dying in the process.
Yeah, but they want the notoriety. They don't want the news to go, this dumb got shot 5 feet in the front door. There's no notoriety in that. There's you're stupid in that.
Let me change the subject a minute. What is a black caucus?
It's a group segregated among on racial lines that if it was a white caucus would be called racist.
Well, the Black Caucus meeting Thursday to create a new Justice Party. That was in Chattanooga.
Justice Party?
Yes.
I think that's a great idea.
Signatures to form a third political party here. A news release.
I think that's absolutely wonderful.
We're going to create a force in this city that is going to represent those who are voiceless, said local Nation of Islam leader Kevin Mohammed, who co-founded the caucus with Westside Baptist Church pastor Timothy Carether.
Look, Nation of Islam is an anti-Semitic, racist organization, so good for them. I can't believe that a Baptist minister would partner with a anti-Semitic, racist organization like that.
The Black Caucus. No comments, Franklin?
I'm not even remotely concerned about it.
Well, I think he should be concerned about it, because the reason I think it's a good idea is the Republicans already have a supermajority in the state of Tennessee. All this will do is defeat several of the Democrats that are able to squeak through a victory. It'll divide their vote. So have at it. Good for you.
So they're wanting to create a third party, huh? What about Jesse Smollett, whatever his name is, Smollett, the actor? Is he in trouble or what?
Well, he's being prosecuted, and apparently as he should be.
Chicago PD says that they've got reams of evidence that he did this. He's now come out and said that the $3,500 check was for they were going to train him for this role coming up. But the PD came out and said, we have tons of evidence. I think the $3,500 check, the reason he said it was for training is because he's realized how much of an idiot it makes him look like.
Well, I mean, without a doubt, he's caught with that, but he had to come up with an excuse for it. But, I mean...
But you know, that's not the big issue. You know, Franklin, blithely goes, oh, well, he should be prosecuted. The big issue here is the media and the way they treated this. You've got Don Lemon saying, actually you've got tons of people on the left saying they're sad that he made it up. Now what that means is they're sad that there wasn't a racist, homophobic attack in Chicago, Illinois.
They're sad that somebody would hurt people who are actually victimized by making up a hoax like this. And that should make us sad.
No, they're sad that it didn't happen. Because their view of America under Donald Trump is racist and homophobic.
Because those people couldn't possibly be sincere in their beliefs, right? That's what you're saying?
Why would the media pick up and jump on that so quick without verifying it, Franklin?
Because it was a celebrity. Is the reason?
Because it fit their worldview.
Things happen all the time that don't get nearly that much attention because it doesn't involve celebrities.
It happens to fit their worldview, and so they ran with it. None of them said alleged. None of them said purported attack. They said he was attacked. And then you had all these celebrities actually going. Ellen Page, for example, explicitly said that this was Vice President Pence's fault because he hates people. She said that. Said when you hate people like the Vice President does and you want them to suffer, this is what it leads to. Now, by the way, Ellen Page, not a peep since we found out that it was a hoax. Don Lemon was calling Jesse Smollett every day. Now, that's supposedly an impartial newscaster, but he's calling him every day. And then he said he was so sad that he'd made it up and that it didn't happen. He said that. He said it didn't happen, which means he's sad a racist, homophobic attack didn't happen.
Did you read anything in the news yesterday about Pat Robertson yesterday?
And what happened?
I can't believe the media didn't cover that because, they're so busy taking down conservatives.
What did Pat do?
Well, on his 700 Club yesterday, he said, and I'm quoting, non-religious children should be beaten until they accept Christian beliefs.
I'd like to hear that come out of his mouth because that sounds like a Democratic lie.
Oh, no, let me say this. I'm not completely surprised that he may have said that, but here's something for you, Franklin. I will completely condemn that and tell you that he's a solid Republican. He's also not a mainstream figure.
That's not the point I'm making, John. The point I'm making is the media didn't jump all over that and publicize it everywhere. While you say they're on this conspiracy,
like I said, it sounds
to hurt conservatives.
It sounds like another Democratic
Trump's coverage has been 90+% negative. That's one of the highest negative coverage rankings of any modern president. By the way, I'll give you a perfect example right here.
Can you come up with an example of a president who's said more outrageous things than Donald Trump?
That's what's so bad. What you just said is an opinion. In your opinion, he said, no, I'm telling you, everybody has a different opinion.
No.
I think a tremendous number of things that Obama said were completely outrageous.
Can you think of a president, Democrat or Republican, who said as many things that you would have found personally revolting only 2 years ago?
Yes, I can.
Who would that
Barack
be?
Obama.
Okay.
I can tell you every week he said things that were offensive to me.
All right.
But that's my point, Franklin. That's my opinion. And I am a partisan. And I will admit that I'm a partisan, and things he said to me that I thought were offensive may not have seemed offensive to other people. And he didn't get 90+% negative coverage in the media. But I will.
If Trump came up for a cure for cancer right now, y'all try to say something's wrong.
I've actually got a good example of this. Okay, so do you know who, let me find it here. Richard Grinnell. Do you know who Richard Grinnell is, Franklin?
No, I do not.
Richard Grinnell is the first openly gay ambassador ever appointed, which Franklin's party blocked his nomination for months because they didn't want Trump under Trump derangement syndrome. They didn't want Trump to have the honor of appointing the first openly gay ambassador. So he is now spearheading an effort to gather Western world leaders in denouncing dozens of nations, including Iran, for laws that criminalize or even carry the death penalty for being gay. So that's he's putting this together in Europe to criticize and to try to stop these anti-homosexual laws. Out magazine, which is one of the leading pro-LGBT publications, ran an article. This is the headline for it: Trump's plan to decriminalize homosexuality is an old racist tactic. They're saying that it's racist for the Trump administration to criticize countries for criminalizing homosexuality. So the homosexuals, the crazy we hate Trump homosexuals, he's actually making an effort to stop. Iran just executed a bunch of homosexuals this past week, and it's racist for Trump to try and stop that. Explain that one to me, Franklin.
I'm not going to attempt to characterize that one, John.
Because it's crazy?
Because I doubt that it's exactly what you said.
Of course you doubt it's not true.
Well, let's take a little break before things get stirred up a little bit too much. But do we have our... I've got one thing I want to wake up everybody with as we go on break, and we'll be...
Good morning, Vietnam! You're listening to Backfire with Steve Hickson. We'll be right back after this.
You are listening to WOOP-LP, Cleveland, Tennessee. WOOP FM is a broadcasting service of the Traditional Music Resource Center, and we play America's original music.
We're at the Train Heating and Air Conditioning Testing Facility to experience their infamous torture tests firsthand.
Hi, don't worry, kid, this is cold. I'm surrounded by HVAC units covered in a layer of ice and snow. I get it, it's hard to stop a train.
Ready for a heating and air unit that's been tested in the harshest environments possible? Stop thinking about the other guys and get a train. Call Mechanical Systems today to get your home on the road to comfort. 336-5739.
Train, the most reliable heating and cooling brand.
Attention, Cleveland area creditors. Are you tired of dealing with debtors that owe you money? I'm Jeff Renfro, and I've owned and operated Financial Recovery, a debt recovery specialist here in my hometown of Cleveland for 18 years. We're a licensed and bonded Tennessee collection agency working for a wide variety of creditors, from commercial, manufacturing, physicians, dentists, attorneys, small business owners, to individuals. Look, any kind of business dealing with billing, charge accounts, or even return checks. I know your past due accounts are not a top priority for you, but they would be to me. Let me try to make it easy for you to make a change in the way you've been handling your accounts. There's no contract and no cost to you in most cases, as our fee of only 30% can be added to the balance owed to you. So, whether you have hundreds of accounts monthly and need help with your billing and collection, or you're just an individual and somebody owes you money, let me help you. Give me a call at 400-5376 and I'll come by and see you. That's 400-5376.
Financial Recovery, a licensed and bonded collection agency in Cleveland, Tennessee, 400-5376.
Yeah, you looking for something sweet? I know you are. Bring your little sweet self to the Village Bake Shop. Around since 1961, there ain't a baked good in the galaxy. The Village Bake Shop can't whip up for you. So when you're ready to treat your mouth to a taste you won't soon forget, get over to the Village Bake Shop in the Village Green Town Center. Or give them a call at 476-5179. You dig?
Matthews Pool and Spa Company, located in Cleveland, Bradley County for over 45 years. You know them. They're your new swimming pool construction and supply company in Cleveland, Tennessee, now with 4 generations of Matthews to serve you. Matthews Pool and Spa Company, for over 45 years, your swimming pool construction and supply company, spa or hot tub installation and maintenance. Get all of your supplies for your pool or spa right now. That's the new location in the old Quinn Electric Company building building behind KFC at 2724 Key Street in Cleveland. Call Matthews now, 476-4521. You better get your order in now for your new pool construction for this spring and summer. 476-4521. Matthews Pool and Spa Company. Gonna jump in. Woo!
No dealers allowed.
Jackson Catnapper, family owned and operated in Cleveland since 1933, offering the best with over 70 styles of recliners, sofas, electronic lift chairs, full living room packages. Call Mike now at 961-7239 because Jackson Catnapper now offers sales to the public
Every Saturday. That's right. Every Saturday.
from 8 in the morning to 1 in the afternoon. Or call Mike at 961-7239 or go see him
Every Saturday.
at 1911 King Edward Avenue, just across from the main plant. Jackson Catnapper, family owned and operated in Cleveland since 1933. 961-7239.
No dealers allowed.
You're listening to Backfire with Steve Hickson on Whoop FM. Call 423-614-5553 to join in on the conversation. Now, back to Backfire.
Crackleman. See? Car. What? I've just informed them I've lost my phone. It's been gone for about 5 days, but I found it today. Hey, we got a call. Let's take a call. Go ahead, caller. You're live.
Hey, good morning, Steve.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Well, I got this morning at 5:30 to listen to watching news, and I seen where the House plans to block the funds to help Trump build a wall. Are we going to get a wall built?
Yeah, I think the wall's already almost built, isn't it?
You think so, huh?
Well, they're working on it. Nothing slowed them down.
You're wrong, Franklin. They have been building.
Here's my take on it. The president doesn't care whether the wall's ever built. It's a political tool for him.
No, I think it.
Well,
Franklin,
let's look at the facts.
Do the border guards say they need
Let's look
it?
at the facts.
Does the border guard say they need this wall?
Not the one he wants to build, they don't.
Actually, you're wrong, Franklin. They say we need a barrier, and you can argue over what kind of barrier we build, but your people gave $8 billion to Obama just 2 years before Trump for this very same thing.
Let me just say again.
We're going to get a wall
The same president turned down 5 times as much funding for the wall a year and a half ago as he's asking for now.
Maybe he was wanting something.
Why? Because it's a better political issue for him if it's never built.
Look, they've got. This is how this works on the left. There's the idea there that they're just opposed to President Trump on anything. So you've got this guy's arrested up in Boston, and the judge is a pro-immigration judge. So he was arrested for burglarizing the same bank twice. And so he sentenced him to 364 days in jail, 1 day short of legal grounds for deporting this guy. So he's just now been arrested for kidnapping and murdering 2 doctors in their own home because this judge didn't want to get him deported. That's the mindset on the left.
What is the deal with the deportation of these illegals and not letting the illegals in? What is the deal with all this? Why do we want illegals in our country?
Well, you'd have to ask all the people who regularly hire them, Steve. That would be the answer.
I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that.
Because, John, here's the thing. Your folks don't want to do anything about that.
Actually, President Trump offered you a deal on DACA twice, and your Democrat Party turned it down.
That has nothing to do with the people you're talking about.
Well, wait a minute. You're saying that the Republicans are hiring the illegals, and that's why we don't want them? That's why we want them?
Absolutely, I would say that.
So what's the Democrats want them for?
Same thing, Steve. The same thing.
To work inside the walled compound.
Do they have visas? They could.
Well, by definition, that's not illegal if they have visas.
Well, then why do we want illegals?
The question is, why don't we want to reform the system so that we make it possible for legal people to come in legally to do these jobs that other people don't want to do, apparently?
Wait a minute. How has it been in the past? Were they legally able to come into this country?
There have been lots of changes over the years at various times.
Why did it change? What's changed?
Some of the processes that they used to come in expired. The laws that they used to to allow them to come in, had sunset dates on them, and because this issue became politicized in the 2000 presidential debate on the Republican side.
President Clinton politicized this. President Bush politicized it. President Obama went on record as saying he was against illegal immigration. But we didn't treat him this way when he asked for border money. We voted with him to give him the border money. Your side is the side that hates Trump so much you can't look beyond your hatred and just do what's right. Obama's own Border Patrol chief says that what Trump is asking for is exactly correct.
The last 3 Republican presidents before Trump would agree with the position I'm taking. That's just a fact.
That's pretty common.
What position are you taking?
That the immigration system is broken and needs to be repaired.
That's a good thing Democrats do. Only one of the last 3 Republican presidents is alive to contradict Franklin. So that's a great statement for him to make.
They all were on the record on that.
What does Obama's Border Patrol chief say, Franklin? Obama's Border Patrol chief.
Border Patrol agrees with you, John.
He agrees with Trump. And all the men and women on the line agree with Trump. All the data agrees with Trump. The only thing that doesn't agree with Trump is your party's hatred for him.
First of all, that's not true.
Absolutely true.
Why would we want open? Why do we want to
We
have
don't want open
Your
borders.
party wouldn't applaud for that a line in the president's speech. He said, we want legal immigration, not
As I've
illegal.
said
And your party
before,
sat on their hands the
It
entire
was
time.
not. It was not a Democrat that linked this issue to bigotry and
Once
calling
again,
every person across
that's
the border.
I'm glad
no,
you said
it's
that.
what the president
Yes,
said.
you said it every time.
He says
so
it.
you don't care
He
what's in the
says
people's
it.
best interest
Well,
because you hate Trump.
The people
You're
along that
making my
border don't agree with you, John.
point for me, Franklin.
Overwhelmingly,
You're making my point for me.
Overwhelmingly, the people along the border on the American side disagree with you.
Actually, you're wrong.
No,
about
it's
that.
not true.
Talk to the mayors where the walls have been built. Talk
we
to the
did.
people in
While
San
the
Diego.
president was there, and he said what the president said was false.
The Democrat
You just
mayor.
ignore that, though, don't you?
I can say the Border Patrol chief
The
say that.
Republican mayor said that was false.
Can I ask this question? John's an American. I'm an American. Daniel's an American. I'm an American.
Sure about Daniel.
Now then, wait a minute. Why do I want illegals in this country? Why should I want illegals in this country? Now, wait a minute. The majority of us right now, if we voted, which way would we vote?
For what? What are you talking
Not to have illegals in our country. If they want in our country, let's get them in here legally.
Okay.
So
let me ask you this.
Okay.
Do you think that the amount of illegal immigration into America would fall dramatically if you really, really, really concentrated all your law enforcement efforts on the people who hired them? Do you think that those people would quit coming?
I think it would slow it down, but
you know what? But those people are your supporters and
I
voters.
don't know anybody hiring them.
I've agreed with you on that. I'm sitting here agreeing with you. You can't agree with me on anything about this. I'm agreeing with you. There are conservative people in big businesses that depend on that. And you know how capitalism would work on that? If you shut that border down and you were actually able to completely shut that down, you would have too many jobs and not enough people. And so those companies would be forced to raise their pay for those jobs to attract some Americans to take those jobs. Now, I know as a company, they don't want to have to do that because that'll impact their bottom line. It'll make them have to raise their prices. It'll hurt me because the price of the goods will go up. But that's the dynamic here.
Okay.
I don't want illegals in here. I don't mind them coming legally. But I don't want them illegally. So what? I don't
even mind talking about increasing the amount of legal.
And do you understand that the majority of illegals in the country actually came in legally and overstayed their right to stay here?
Great, that's a problem too. Let's fix that. Yeah, nobody's arguing with you about that. That's a straw man argument.
It's not a straw man argument when you guys keep saying stuff that's totally false. We don't have a wave of illegal immigrants streaming across our border.
What are those people doing?
What are the thousands that have streamed all winter?
Fewer than were coming in 20 years ago and 30 years ago.
It was
and
wrong
40
30 years ago,
Nobody
too.
says that. But but you guys make it sound like
Are we
there's
getting
some
a meeting
crazy
here?
Franklin, to be perfectly honest, President Reagan made a deal with your party in the 80s, and your party was in charge until 94, never upheld their end of the
What did
deal.
Ronald Reagan
They
say
were
in
supposed to
his farewell address?
He gave everybody basically a pass, a amnesty, and your party agreed to seal the border. You never came through with the funds.
Ronald Reagan in his farewell address talked about how important it was for us to be encouraging immigration into the country.
Legal.
Yes, but you guys won't fix that problem.
No, you all were in charge. You made a deal with Reagan, and you betrayed him.
No, wait. Right now, Steve. Right now.
Let's build the wall. Let's get it fixed.
Right now, we are kicking people out of this country who came here legally, who could be providing great economic benefit to us. But we make them leave. It's stupid.
Yeah, and you know what, Franklin? I'll agree with you on that. That is stupid. But it's not as dangerous as your side letting dangerous illegals stay here so they can murder 2 doctors in their home. So they can shoot Kate Steinley on the dock.
Except as we see, they're committing fewer crimes than the people who were born here.
Franklin, one crime is one crime too many. Tell that to the doctor's family.
Well, tell that to the people who were saved by an immigrant who stepped in and helped them.
I don't care, Franklin.
You don't care about that.
No, I don't. Law's the law.
Wait a minute.
Legal or illegal.
So don't tell me it's about saving somebody.
Oh, my God.
It's not.
Franklin, if Donald Trump came in right now and said, I'm going to give everybody a stay, okay? I want the wall built, and I want some new rules passed to stop the illegals from coming in, what would you say?
Everybody to stay?
Everybody that's in America now.
Across the board amnesty.
And nobody's arguing for that.
Nobody's asking you what you'd do if Trump offered that.
If he did it, what would you do?
I'd have to see the details.
In other words, we'd still deny him the funding.
Because nobody on the Democrat side's arguing for that either.
Franklin, I'm giving you...
It's just like the LGBT thing I said. Trying to get countries not to murder homosexuals, you would expect the homosexual community, the Democrat community, to applaud that. Instead, they label it racist.
This is what you do, John. I'm glad you showed me this a minute ago. So what we have is one person wrote an op-ed in a magazine expressing his opinion.
It's the preeminent gay magazine in the country,
One person writes an op-ed, and suddenly everybody agrees with that on the left.
In other words, I prove my point, and he wants to say, well, yeah, but not that. That doesn't count.
No, what you proved is the way you generalize to everybody. This is what you do every week. You come in with John's outrage of the week, and the left must be all in on the conspiracy behind it.
They are.
Instead, you're not talking about the president this morning telling us that he has a special relationship with Kim Jong-un and a great friendship with him. Really?
All right, let me ask you a question, Frank. When he called him Rocket Man and said he would blast him back to the Stone Age, you all criticized that. So that's my point. Thank you. You've made my point again.
He said something nice, and you're criticizing him.
You made our point. That's what you do. You keep making our points.
And then he told him that in their last meeting, and this has come out now, I love this one. Unlike a lot of privileged, wealthy kids, he didn't turn out screwed up. No, he just murdered his uncle and his half-brother. He starved his people to death, but yeah, he's okay
but
now,
Franklin,
really. Because he admires strong people.
Franklin, you're making our point. No, when he was criticizing him and talking harshly, you said he was inviting.
He's going to start a war. Yeah.
Now that he's actually diplomatically trying to.
You know what? Ronald Reagan talked harshly about the Soviet Union.
And you said he was going to start World War III. No, you don't get that. You do not get that, Franklin. Franklin, you do not get that.
That he gets a warm and
you
fuzzy
do not
when
get
he
that,
comes
Franklin,
around.
because for the 8 years Ronald Reagan was in office, your party labeled him a warmonger who was going to bring about the destruction of the world.
You can't have it both ways.
No, you're the one wanting it both ways. You did the same thing to Ronald Reagan. Exactly the same thing.
I just want to know what all this hoopla is.
About what?
Hey, let's just talk about anything. Let's use Donald Trump's name. Now then, what is wrong with the name Trump?
Because I see no
You mean
evidence.
like the 11-year-old boy that was beaten in school because his last name was Trump?
Because I see no evidence whatsoever that Donald Trump gives a rat's rear end about anything other than Donald Trump.
Did I say something about that?
And I think that history will reveal that all Donald Trump has done from the day he declared for office is try to advance his own pocketbook.
You know what's funny?
That's
about
what
that?
I think.
You know what the beauty of capitalism is? Everybody's individual greed to advance themselves leads to lifting the boats for everyone.
Sure it does.
And obviously, you don't see that being the good democratic socialist.
How much do we pay Donald Trump every year now?
Millions and millions
Nothing.
and millions of dollars.
Nothing.
You know who the largest tenant of his hotels in New York has been for the last 2 years? Only the last 2 years, though. Who is that?
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it does.
Why?
The Saudi Arabians.
So what?
You know what he did while the
cares?
You know what the campaign? What happened while he was campaigning? He set up 11 dummy corporations. Where? In Saudi Arabia.
Franklin, this anti-homosexual thing that Grinnell is pushing, who does it target? It targets mostly the Arab nations, including Saudi Arabia.
Let's talk about Robert Mueller. What's going to come out of the report?
I don't know.
A big nothing.
I know that Mr. Cohen's testimony this morning, at least in the opening statement, he's.
Well, who's he testifying to?
Let me finish.
Yeah, I'm just asking who he's testifying
Congress.
to. Okay.
Said that he was bringing documents with him.
What's one of his convictions?
Lying. Absolutely.
Lying to who?
Congress.
So he's convicted and pled guilty to lying to Congress, but now he's testifying to Congress.
I don't know if you've noticed, John, but there seems to be a lot of people around Donald Trump who've lied.
Hey,
and Obama's people all pled the fifth.
Let me say something about this. Do you think Mueller would have not got to the bottom of any lies or anything he had to talk about? Do you think if he had anything to say, he wouldn't have said it to Robert Mueller during the investigation?
Oh, I think he has said it.
Franklin, they didn't make any prosecution deal with him.
So why did now Mueller is prosecuting the guy?
Yeah, well, so why is prosecuting?
So why is Congress trying to talk to
He's
him about
going to
the same
jail.
thing? So why is he talking to him? What's the deal here?
It's what Congress.
I
is
thought
always
Mueller
done.
was in charge of the investigation.
Okay.
So what's the deal with Congress right
The
now?
same reason.
While he's
the same reason.
While our president's in Vietnam, they want to try to stir up some more crap.
The same reason that y'all thought it was important for Congress to investigate Benghazi when somebody else was investigating.
I still think Benghazi hasn't been investigated properly.
What?
I don't think Hillary Clinton's been investigated properly.
2 solid years to do it.
Do you think Hillary Clinton was investigated properly?
I would say so after 17 congressional hearings. Yeah.
Hearings from who?
After she had the courage to hold up her hand and testify in front of the American people.
Franklin,
you think Donald Trump would do that?
Franklin, what was Andrew McCabe fired for?
Lack of candor is what they said.
And what does that translate to?
Not saying something.
To who?
To the Inspector General.
Which is FBI, correct?
Yes.
What was Michael Flynn prosecuted for?
Lying under oath.
To the FBI. Lying to the FBI. It wasn't under oath. They went and did an interview. They actually tricked him. But my point is, Franklin, why isn't Andrew McCabe prosecuted? Why isn't Andrew McCabe being prosecuted?
Well, I don't know. You'll have to ask them. Michael Flynn, since the Republicans run the Justice Department, you'd have to ask them that.
Look, Franklin, I'm not defending Flynn.
By the way, when Michael Flynn showed up for his testimony, he fully said he was at fault. He had mistakes.
Of course he did. They threatened to prosecute his son.
Yeah.
They extorted him.
Sure.
But Franklin, you can't have this every which way you want it.
No, here's what you can't have.
You think Donald Trump
you can't surround the President of the United States with one thief and con man after another and say the President is pristine.
How many people in the Obama administration pled the fifth?
I don't know.
How many refused to testify? We still don't know what happened in Fast and Furious because the Attorney General himself refused to participate, didn't follow subpoenas, and wouldn't turn over documents.
And for 2 years, you have run the Justice Department and can investigate anything you want. Anything,
Franklin,
John.
do you think that...
And why don't they ever do it?
I'll tell you why.
Because there was no crime there.
I'll tell you why. Actually, we know there was a crime
because
there.
it's a political
We just don't know
stunt.
why it happened. But here's the reason, Franklin. That didn't happen under Eric Holder's direct supervision. There are people all down through there that were part of that. So you want to know why the deep state doesn't prosecute that? Because too many of their own people would be brought to bear.
And you had the Congress who could investigate it the whole time.
They couldn't get cooperation. They couldn't get the documents. Eric Holder, Obama's attorney general, wouldn't actually obey court orders. So if you want to talk about bad people surrounding the president, start with Eric Holder. Start with all of the people that pled the Fifth.
Where's old Eric been lately?
Well, he's starting a new foundation. He's making lots of money. He's talking about running for president.
I think he's about as guilty as, I think he's more guilty than Trump.
Prosecute him.
I'd like
You're
to.
in charge.
No,
this is,
I'm not
you
guys,
guys.
If I was in charge, he'd already be in jail.
This is like Trump's wall. It's more important for you guys to talk about it than do anything.
Do you know
if
Trump,
you believed it.
Well,
the truth is you don't actually believe it.
He just said it, Trump's wall.
Do you want to know why the 3 top advisors for Bernie Sanders resigned yesterday?
Now tell me.
Because one of them was a participant in representing the Ukraine with Paul Manafort. You know, Paul Manafort, who's going to jail for representing the Ukraine. But this Democrat strategist, who was a participant in that, is one of the top presidential advisors in the country.
Paul Manafort's going to jail for money laundering.
He's also going to jail because...
Excuse me, guys.
Well,
Man.
we have an attorney if you need to sue us and the doctors.
Heimlich him.
Somebody talk.
What are we talking
What's
about?
next on the docket?
Well, I do have a statistic I want to get out. CDC, and by the way, this is prefacing a story that yesterday, all but 3 Democrats, golly,
We're having a breakdown in the studio.
all but 3 Democrats in the U.S. Senate
Sorry about that.
voted to block the Infant Born Alive Protection Act. The CDC estimates that between 2003 and 2014, there were 588 infant deaths of babies born alive after a, quote, termination of pregnancy. Now, keep in mind, that's CDC reports, which is only hospitals. Gosnell, the serial killer that we finally sent to jail, abortionist, he reported that he did hundreds of these. And that's just one abortion provider. So there are most likely thousands of children that are survivors of abortion, and all but 3 Democrats yesterday voted to block making that illegal. And their argument is, and actually as a lawyer, Franklin, I'd like you to help me with this. Their argument is that this law, which I can tell you what it does, it actually gives the mother protections. It says she's not responsible for the baby's death if the doctor doesn't provide support for it, and it gives her the right to actually have action against the doctors for not giving care to the baby and keeping it alive. So it actually protects her. But their argument is that it interferes with her right to an abortion. That means it interferes with her access and ability to terminate a pregnancy. Franklin? This is a baby that is out of the mother. The umbilical cord is cut. The baby is breathing. And your party is arguing that the mother still has a right to terminate the pregnancy. If being out of the mother, cut umbilical cord, breathing on your own is not the end of the mother's right to terminate the pregnancy, where legally would it end? Would it be 10 minutes? Would it be a month? Would it be a year? Because really, up to 2 years, the baby's not able to provide for itself. So if birth itself and separation from the mother, according to your party, is not the end of the mother's right to terminate a pregnancy, where does it end?
I don't know the answer to that one, John.
Why would your party do this?
Well, because they believe that your party's motivation for pursuing is not pristine.
Motives. So you don't care about the facts, it's motives.
I think
Franklin,
that's true in many cases.
On a legal basis, though, answer me this. If that significant effect that it's out of the mother, cut, and breathing on its own, if on a legal basis that's not the end of it, how do you draw a line beyond that?
I'm not trying to draw that line.
There's a doctor that is the leading bioethicist, Dr. Singer, at Harvard University, actually has gone on record as saying that babies can't take care of themselves up to 2 years old, so he thinks it would be okay to kill the baby up to 2 years old. That's the abortion side.
Leading bioethicist
at Harvard. It's one guy. I admit it's one guy, but your party has crossed that line. We used to say that once the baby was out of the mother, murdering that baby or allowing it to die because of lack of care would be infanticide. Your party, you today have basically said, not really sure where infanticide starts.
When did I say that?
Just now. If being out of the mother...
I said I'm not trying to...
You said you're not sure about that designation. Okay. Which means you're not sure when abortion stops and infanticide begins. By the way, polling on this, they're killing themselves. Polling has shifted in the last month significantly on pro-life versus pro-choice. Over 80% of the American people oppose abortions after the first trimester.
John, I want you to make me a pledge. I don't want any more loud voices from the Republican side of the room until the election's over with, because I think the Democrats are going to shoot themselves.
They are shooting themselves.
And I just think it's funny, and we just need to sit back and watch. What is a Democrat? I haven't figured this out yet. Socialist. What is a Democratic socialist?
I have no idea.
That's what Bernie claims he is.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't know what he is?
Well, I know what things he said he was for.
But he's a Democratic socialist.
That's what he says.
And all the Democrats are starting to go towards the socialist side.
I'll defend Bernie. Bernie's always been a Democratic socialist. It's not that Bernie has changed. It's that the Democrat Party has changed. They're not Democrats anymore. They're socialists. By the way, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
For example, he thinks that the government should provide free college tuition. He thinks that's in.
Why? Because his wife ran a college that she ran it into the ground and increased the cost, and they need more money.
He thinks it's a benefit to the society to have a more educated population.
So if the government paid the colleges, the college could charge even more than the colleges would make.
The government's already paying Pell Grants. Student loans that they then waive and say you don't have to pay back.
Well,
why do you think tuition's gone up like that? Because there's been a glut of government money.
Just keep talking, John.
Franklin.
We're doing free junior college tuition here. Is it a bad idea? Is that the position you're taking, John?
Well, here's my position.
No. Just say yes or no.
On that.
Is that good or bad?
If you'll let me talk, I'll tell you. I wasn't particularly for that. Now, I'm a little bit mixed because it's a junior college, and if you did junior college in a tech trade, I think that might actually be a good thing. I think Governor Lee's push for tech schools on the high school level is a good thing, but quite frankly, you can go to a tech school, come out with a welding degree, and get about a $50,000 to $60,000 a year job. A guy with a finance degree from UTK can't get a $24,000 job. So I'm not sure it's completely smart on the government's part, but it's still socialism. And the reason college tuition has gone up so much is because there was so much government money.
Actually, that's not true.
It is true.
In fact, the opposite is true.
Oh my gosh.
No, the truth is that the government provided a lot more funding in percentage terms for colleges 30 years ago than they provide now. That's just a fact. And so that cost has been shifted to the people who are going to the schools there.
I'll look that up, Franklin, because there's Pell Grants, there's student loans. The government took over, Obama took over the student loans.
Look at this. I'm not trying to debate this point, but it was a tremendous economic boom for America when they passed the GI Bill and all those World War II vets came back and had the ability to go to college that they wouldn't have had before. A lot of those people would have never gone to college but for the fact they got that benefit from the country. All right? And it was an economic shot in the arm for us.
Frankly, I hate to break it to you. Things changed from 1945 to today.
Did.
And a college degree today is, quite frankly, a lot of times, one of the problems is these kids are getting college degrees in Star Wars literature. Really? What job are you going to get with that?
They're paying for their groceries. They're paying for the rent. They're paying for everything now with these loans and these grants, and
then the government's waving it off and saying you don't have to pay it back. Where's that money come from? It comes from the taxpayer.
That's right.
By the way,
years ago they gave the deals away, but they didn't give away free rent. They didn't give you grocery money. It was for books and tuition.
Well, that's what we're talking about.
By the way, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who was worried about where she was going to live and didn't have enough money, has now rented an apartment in one of the most exclusive apartment complexes in the capital.
I'm gonna clear that up for you a little bit.
And she's only a 16-minute walk from work, but the Green New Deal girl drives the car every day from her
Franklin,
house.
John, I want to clear that up for you. She's moved in with her boyfriend. Now, that's the big deal.
You mean the boyfriend who has a house.gov email address? That boyfriend? The boyfriend who was a contractor but got paid on her campaign for supposedly IT services?
But anyway, she's living with her boyfriend. I'm just proud to know she's got a boyfriend. I didn't think anybody'd have her. Hey, Franklin?
And see, I'll be nice to Franklin. She's a nice-looking girl. She could get a boyfriend.
Hey, is anything wrong with Donald Trump in Vietnam this morning?
I don't know. We don't know yet.
We don't know yet. You're still waiting on something bad to come out?
No, it's not bad.
Let's turn it to CNN.
It's that, you know.
He's going to give away too much this time, isn't he?
Well, he tweeted last time when he left that there was no longer a nuclear threat from North Korea. That was the president's words, not mine.
Well, is there? Has there been a problem? Have we had a problem?
According to the Department of Defense,
is
there
things
is.
better? Things better?
Because they've already
Are things better, Franklin?
I don't know.
Here's a reasonable.
They
are not
even y'all are not reporting it.
I don't know.
You're not even reporting anything anymore.
Look, they're not going to do away with their nuclear bombs. What we're actually probably hoping for is that they stop testing, they start developing. But he's not going to let them all go. He's going to sit on some because that he feels he needs that for his protection. But the point here is, if he stops the testing and we're able to actually end the war. Now, there's all kinds of problems that crop up with that, too. We'll want to keep troops in South Korea. He probably won't want troops in South Korea. He'll say, well, if the war's over, why are you keeping them? But, Franklin, all of this has got to be labeled progress, except that you all are blinded by your hatred of the president.
It's not that. It's that he seems to be very naive about the process.
Has he got further than Obama got?
Very naive.
Has he gotten further than Obama got?
I guess he could have taken him some money over there. That'd help buy him some love, wouldn't it?
Because Iran is doing so much better now.
Huh?
That's what they want.
Well, that's what Obama would have done, taken him a plane full of money, wouldn't it?
Like he did with Iran, who is the world's leading
If we had their money,
sponsor
it
of
would be a good
terrorism.
deal.
Their money. You know he had to find their money?
Sure.
Leading state sponsor on terrorism. By the way, do you know what Senator Kaine in a fundraising letter referred on this infant born alive bill? Do you know what he referred to the infant as? He sent out a letter and said it was a fetus who survives an abortion. He couldn't even call it a baby once it's out of the mother and alive. A fetus who survives.
All right. Well, we're way past schedule again, so we've got to go. So we hope you'll stay tuned next week for another edition of Backfire, and maybe we'll have something really good to talk about from Vietnam.
Hopefully so.
See ya.
You've been listening to Backfire with Steve Hickson, John Stanberry, and Franklin Chansey. Catch them again on Whoop FM at noon today and every Wednesday morning from 7:30 to 8:30. Now, back to more music on Whoop FM.